editing. It's amazing. So I think most likely, if we're a simulation, it's really boring outside the simulation. Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? It makes a simulation way more interesting than base reality.
That is, if this right now is a simulation.
Yes.
And ultimately, inevitably, as long as we don't die or get hit by a meteor, we're going to create some sort of simulation if we continue on the same type of logic.
Yes.
But we might not be there. So it might not be a simulation here. But it most likely is, you feel, other places.
This notion of place or where is a
Flawed.
yeah.
Flawed
Like
perception.
where, like that. If you have this sort of that vibe, you know, with was made by Valve and Steam and H. It's really Valve that made it. HTC did the hardware, but it's really Valve.
Makers of Half-Life.
Yes. Valve, great company.
Great company.
When you're in that virtual reality, which is only going to get better, where are you? Where are you really?
Right.
You aren't anywhere.
Well, where's...
You're in the computer.
What defines where you are?
Exactly.
Right.
It's your perception.
Is it your perceptions, or is it a scale that you have on your butt? Right here, I've measured you at the same weight as you were when you left. But meanwhile, your experience.
Why do you think you're where you are right now? You might not be. Right now, you think you're in a studio in LA.
That's what I heard.
You might be in a computer.
Oh, listen, man, I think about this all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's unquestionable that one day that'll be the case. As long as we keep going. As long as nothing interrupts us. And if we start from scratch, and, we're single-celled organisms all over again, and then millions and millions of years later we become the next thing that is us, with creativity and the ability to change the environment, it's going to keep monkeying with things until it figures out a way to change reality. To change, to almost like punch a hole through what is this thing into what it wants it to be, and create new things. And then those new things will intersect with other people's new things, and it'll be this ultimate pathway of infinite ideas and expression, all through technology.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wonder why we're here.
Let's find out. Well, I think we should take the actions, the set of actions that are most likely to make the future better.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then reevaluate those actions to make sure it's true.
Well, I think there's a movement to that. In terms of like a social movement, I think some of it's misguided and some of it's exaggerated. There's a lot of people that are fighting for their side out there, but it seems like the general trend of social awareness seems to be much more heightened now than has ever been at any other time in history, because of our ability to express ourselves instantaneously to each other through Facebook and Twitter or what have you. And that the trend is to abandon preconceived notions, abandon prejudice, abandon discrimination, and promote kindness and happiness as much as possible.
Yeah, what is this?
My friend Dr. This is with him to stay here. I have a real samurai sword from the that I'm going to read the weapons. It's from the 1500s. The samurai sword at the end of the table, yeah.
That's cool.
I'll grab it. It's a legit samurai sword from an actual samurai from the 1500s. If you pull out that blade was made the old way, where a master craftsman folded that metal and hammered it down over and over again over a long period of time and honed that blade into what it is now. What's crazy is that more than 500 years later, that thing is still pristine. Whoever took care of that and passed it down to the next person who took care of it until it got to the podcast room. It's pretty fucking crazy. One day, someone's gonna be looking at a Tesla like that.
You should see what the Tesla can do. I'll show you after.
Well, I've driven one. I love it.
Yeah, but most people don't know what to do.
In terms of like ludicrous mode, in terms of driving super fast and responsible for the roads. Yeah. What can it do that I need to know about?
I don't know, like some movies like ballet, so that's how we're
Where it dances?
Yeah.
Legitimate? Moves around?
Yeah.
Why would you go there?
Seemed like fun.
That's what I get about you. That's what's weird. Like when you showed up here, you were all smiles, and you pull out a fucking blowtorch or not a blowtorch. And I'm like, look at this dude.
A flamethrower.
Not a flamethrower. Like he's
I want to be
having
clear,
fun.
it's definitely not.
You're having fun. Like this is like this thing when you program a car to do a ballet dance. You're having fun. And how do you have the time to do that? I don't understand. While you're digging holes under the earth, sending rockets into space, and powering people in Australia, like how the fuck do you have time to make the car dance ballet?
Well, I mean, in that case, there were some engineers at Tesla that said, what if we make this car dance and play music? Like, that sounds great. Please do it. Let's try to get it done in time for Christmas. We did.
Is there a concern about someone just losing their mind and making do that on the highway?
No, it won't do that.
What if it's in bumper-to-bumper traffic?
Nope.
No, it won't do that.
Nope. It's actually, it's an Easter egg.
That's an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's why people don't know about it. Including people who have the car.
Well,
it's like, it can do lots of things. Lots of things.
Once Reddit gets hold of it, everyone's
Oh,
gonna
you
know
just
that.
have to, it's everyone, if you search for it on the internet, you'll find out what people don't know that they should even search for it.
Oh, well, they do now.
Yes.
Yes.
There's so many things about Model X and S3 that people don't know about. We should probably do a video or something and explain it. Because I have close friends of mine who say, do you know what fucking do this? And I'm like,
Do you want to do a video of that, or do you like the fact that some people don't know?
no, I think it's probably not, we should tell people.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
It's not like you don't sell enough of them. You sell almost too many of them, right?
I think a Tesla is the most fun thing you could possibly buy ever. That's what it's meant to be.
Well,
Our goal is to make it's not exactly a car. It's actually a thing to maximize enjoyment. Make with maximum fun.
okay. Electronic, like big screen, laptop, ridiculous speed, handling, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have?
And we're gonna put video games in it.
You are.
Yeah.
Is that wise?
Well,
What kind of
you
video
won't
games?
be able to
Candy
drive
Crush?
while you're playing the video game. But we're like,
Oh,
for example, we're
park.
just putting the Atari emulator, ROM emulator in it. So you'll be able to play Missile Command and Lunar Lander and a bunch of other things. Yeah,
That sounds cool.
it's pretty fun.
I like that.
Yeah, and we improved the interface of Missile Command because it was too hard with the old trackball. So this is a touchscreen version of Missile Command. So you have a chance.
Do you have an old car, don't you? Don't you have like an old Jaguar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's most people know that. I have 61 Series 1 E-Type Jaguar.
I love cars.
It's great.
Yeah, I love old cars. That's
Yeah,
one of the things.
the only two gasoline cars I have are that and an old like a Ford Model T that a friend of mine gave me. That's my only two gasoline cars.
Is the Ford Model T all stock? Well, oh, there's your car.
I have the convertible.
That is a gorgeous
Self-help.
car. God, that's a good car.
Yeah.
Is that yours?
That is it. It's not mine. It's extremely close to mine. But I don't have a French license plate on mine.
Oh, it's a beautiful car. They nailed that.
That's mine looks like
E-Type,
that.
God, they nailed that.
That's what mine looks like. Maybe that is mine.
There's certain iconic shapes.
Yeah.
And There's something about those cars too. They're not as capable, not nearly as capable as like a Tesla, but there's something really satisfying about the mechanical aspect of like feeling the steering and the grinding of the gears and the shifting. There's something about those that's extremely satisfying, even though they're not that competent. Like I have a 1993 Porsche 964. It's like a lightweight. It's not RS America. It's not very fast. It's not like in comparison to a Tesla or anything. But the thing about it is like it's mechanical. You feel it, and everything's like. It's like it gives you this weird thrill, like you're on this clinky ride, and there's all this feedback. There's something to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my E-Type is like basically no electronics.
Yeah. So you like that, but you also like electronics.
Yeah.
Like your Tesla's it's like the far end of electronics.
Yeah.
Drives itself.
It's driving itself better every day.
Yeah.
It's we're about to release the software that will enable you to just turn it on and it'll drive from highway on ramp to highway exit, do lane changes to overtake other cars, to go from one interchange to the next. If you get on, say, the 405, get off 300 miles later and go through several highway interchanges and just overtake other cars and hook into the nav system. And then
you just meditate.
Yeah.
Your car's just trying.
It's kind of eerie. It's kind of eerie.
What did you think when you saw that video of that dude falling asleep behind the wheel? I'm sure you've seen it. The one in San Francisco. He's like right outside of San Jose. Dude's out cold like this. The car's in bumper to bumper traffic moving along.
Yeah.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah. We changed the software. We changed the software. That's, I think, an old video. We changed software where if you don't touch the wheel, it will gradually slow down and put the emergency lights on and wake you up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Can you choose what voice wakes you up?
Well, it's sort of more of it sort of honks.
Oh, it honks?
Yeah.
It should be like, wake up, fuckface.
Well,
you're endangering your fellow humans.
We could gently wake you up with a sultry voice.
That would be good. Like something with a southern accent. Hey, wake up.
Wake up, sunshine.
Hey, sweetie.
Exactly.
Won't you wake up?
You like pick your...
Right, like
pick
Siri.
what you want.
Yeah, I choose the Australian girl for Siri.
Yeah.
I like her voice.
Do you want it seductive?
Favorite. I like Australian.
What flavor do you want to be angry? Could be anything.
I want those Australian prison lady jeans. Now, when you program something like that in, is this in response to a concern, or is it your own?
Yeah.
Do you look at it and go, hey, they shouldn't just be able to fall asleep. Let's wake them up.
Yeah. It's like, falling asleep. We've got to do something about that.
Right, but when you first released it, you didn't consider it, right? You're just like, well, no one's going to just sleep.
People fall asleep in cars all the time.
All the time.
And crash.
Yeah.
At least our car doesn't crash. That's better.
Yeah.
It's better not to crash. Imagine if that guy falling asleep in a gasoline car. They do it all the time.
For sure. Yeah.
And they crash into somebody.
Yeah.
In fact, the thing that really, got me to, it's like, man, we better get autopilot going and get it out there, was that a guy was in an early Tesla driving down the highway and he fell asleep and he ran over a cyclist and killed him. And it's like, man, if we had autopilot, we might have fallen asleep, but at least he wouldn't have run over that cyclist.
So how did you implement it? Like, did you just use cameras and programmed with the system so that if it sees images, it slows down? And how much time do you give it? Is the person who's in control of it allowed to program how fast it goes?
Yes. Yeah, you can program it to be more or less a more conservative, more aggressive driver. And you can say what speed you want it to, what speed is okay.
Oh, you have ludicrous mode. Do you have douchebag mode?
Well,
it just cuts people off.
Well, for lane changes, it's tricky because if you're in like LA, like unless you're pretty aggressive, it's hard to change lanes.
It's hard to be something. It's hard to be namaste here in LA.
Yeah.
If you want to hit that Santa Monica Boulevard off-ramp,
I mean, you got to be a little pushy.
You gotta be a little pushy, yeah. Especially if people are
freeway.
angry. If
Yes.
they're a little angry, they won't let you in. They speed up.
Sometimes, yeah, I think people like overall are pretty nice on the highway, even in LA, but sometimes they're not.
Do you think they know that?
Probably.
Everybody be locked in together, this hive mind.
Tunnels will help it. We're gonna have traffic.
That'll help a lot.
Yeah.
How many of those can you put in there?
Nice thing about tunnels.
Everybody?
Nice thing about tunnels is you can go 3D. So you
Oh,
can go
right.
many levels.
Right.
So
Until you hit hell.
yeah. But you could have 100 levels of tunnel. No problem.
Jesus Christ, I want to be on 99. I want to be on 99th, negative 99 floors. Ooh.
This is one of the fundamental things people don't appreciate about tunnels is that there's not like roads. The fundamental issue with roads is that you have a 2D transport system and a 3D living and workspace environment. So you go to these tall buildings or concentrated work environments, and then you want to go into this like 2D transport system, which
Hugely
is
inefficient.
pretty low density because cars are spaced out pretty far. And so that obviously is not going to work. You're going to have traffic guaranteed. But if you can go 3D on your transport system, then you can solve road traffic. You can either go 3D up with a flying car or go 3D down with tunnels. You can have as many tunnel levels as you want. You can arbitrarily relieve any amount of traffic. You can go further down with tunnels than you can go up with buildings. You go 10,000 feet down if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but
What was that movie with, what's his face? Bradley Cooper? Not Bradley Cooper. Christian. No, what the fuck's his name? Batman.
Like-
Who's Batman? Christian Bale. Where they fought dragons. Him and Matthew McConaughey. They went down deep into the earth. How deep can you go?
That was Batman.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Batman fought dragons.
No,
The
it wasn't
ground?
Batman. It was
Okay.
Christian Bale. Rain of Fire.
Okay.
Ever saw that?
No.
Terrible.
Okay.
But good.
I
Terrible,
wouldn't
but good at the
recommend
same
drilling
time.
super far down.
Yeah, but you get
Earth
real
is a
deep.
big,
It gets
big
hot, right?
molten.
Yeah.
Earth is a giant ball of lava
Mm-hmm.
with a thin crust on the top, which we think of as like the surface. This thin crust, and it's mostly just a big ball of lava. That's Earth. But 10,000 feet is not a big deal.
Have you given any consideration whatsoever to the flat Earth movement?
Haha. I think that's a troll situation.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not. You would like to think that
Okay.
because you're a super genius.
Haha.
But I, as a normal person, I know there's people way dumber than me. And they really, really believe. They watch YouTube videos which go on uninterrupted and spew out a bunch of fucking fake facts very eloquently and articulately. And they really believe. These people really believe.
I mean, if it works for them, sure. Fine.
It's weird though, right? That in this age where, you know, there's ludicrous mode in your car, goes 1.9 seconds, 0 to 60.
2.2.
2.2. Which one's 1.9? The Roadster?
Oh, the next generation Roadster
Okay.
Standard Edition.
Yeah. I'm talking shit.
That's those two.
Standard edition.
Yeah, so it's about the full package.
What? Performance package?
Yeah.
What the fuck do you need?
We're gonna put rocket thrusters on it.
For real?
Yeah,
What are they gonna burn?
nothing. Ultra high pressure compressed air.
Wow. Just
Gas,
air?
Cold gas thrusters.
Now, do you have to have air tanks, or are they
Yeah.
just sucking the air out of? Okay.
Yeah, it's an electric pump.
Whoa.
Pump it up to like 10,000 psi.
And how fast are we talking? 0 to 60.
How fast do you want to go?
I want to go.
We could make it just
instantaneously.
fly.
I want to go back in time.
Make it fly.
You make it fly.
Sure.
Do you anticipate that as being? I mean, you were talking about the tunnels and then flying cars. Do you really think it's going to be real?
It's too noisy and there's too much airflow. So the fundamental issue with flying cars, if you get like one of those like toy drones, think of how loud those are, and how much air they blow. Now imagine if that's like 1,000 times heavier. It's not going to make your neighbors happy. Your neighbors are not going to be happy if you land a flying car in your backyard.
It'll be very helicopter-like.
Or on your roof. They're just really going to be like, what the? That was annoying. You can't even. If you want a flying car, just put some wheels on a helicopter.
Is there a way around that? Like, what if they figure out some sort of magnetic technology, like all those Bob Lazar type characters were thinking that was part of the UFO technology they were doing at Area 51? Remember, didn't they have some thoughts about magnetics?
Nope.
No? Bullshit?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, there's a fundamental momentum exchange with the air. So you must you must accelerate. There's a certain you have a mass and you have gravitational acceleration, and mass times your mass times gravity must equal the mass of airflow times the acceleration of that airflow to have a neutral force.
So it's impossible
mg equals
to get
ma,
around.
and then you won't move. But if mg is greater than ma, you will go down. And if ma is greater than mg, you will go up. That's how it works.
There's just no way around that.
There is definitely no way around it.
There's no way to create some sort of a magnetic something or another that allows you to...
Technically, yes. You could have a strong enough magnet. But that magnet would be so strong that you would create a lot of trouble.
Would just suck cars up into your car? Just pick up
I mean,
axles and
you'd
shit?
have to repel off of either material on the ground or in a really nutty situation off of Earth's gravitation and somehow make that incredibly light. But that magnet would cause so much destruction, you'd be better off with that.
So if there was some sort of magnet road, like you have two magnets and they repel each other, if you had some sort of a magnet road that was below you and you could travel on that magnet road, that would work. Yes. Yes, you could have a magnet road. Magnet road. Is that too ridiculous?
No, it would work. You could do that.
Ridiculous too, right?
I would not recommend it. I would super not recommend that. Not good. Not wise, I think. No. Definitely not. Definitely not. That would cause a lot of trouble.
So you put some time and consideration into this other than, instead of like my foolishly random thoughts. So you think that tunnels are the way to do it?
Oh, it'll work for sure.
That'll work.
Yes.
And these tunnels that you're building right now, these are basically just like test versions of this ultimate idea that you have?
It's just a hole in the ground.
Right. We played videos of it where your idea is that you're going to drop that hole in the ground, there's a sled on it, and the sled goes very fast, like 100 miles an hour plus.
Yeah, you can go real fast. You can go as fast as you want. And then if you want to go long distances, you can just draw the air out of the tunnel, make sure it's real straight.
Draw the air.
Yeah, it's a vacuum tunnel. Because then depending on how fast you want to go through these wheels, or you could use air bearings to the ambient pressure in the tunnel, or you could maglev it if you want to go super fast.
So magnet road.
Yes, but underground magnet roads.
Underground magnet
Yeah,
road.
otherwise you're going to really create a lot of trouble with those metal things.
So magnet road's the way to go, just underground.
If you want to go really fast underground, you would be maglev in a vacuum tunnel.
Mag in a vacuum tunnel.
Magnetic levitation in a vacuum tunnel. Fun. No, I would not recommend putting any exhaust gas in the tunnel.
Oh, okay. Because
then you're going to have to pump it out.
Right, you have to pump it out. And you probably have a limited amount of air in the first place. Like, how much can you breathe? Do you have to pump oxygen into these cubicles?
No, you have a pressurized pod. It'd be like a little tiny underground spaceship, basically.
Like an airplane. Because you have air in the airplane, it's not getting new air in.
It is.
It is?
Yes.
They have like a little hole?
Yeah, they have a pump.
Really?
Yeah.
So it gets it from the outside?
Yes. And it's like the air is. Airplanes have it easy because they're pretty leaky. But yeah, as long as the air pump is working at a decent speed, they have backup pumps.
Oh.
So they have like 3 pumps or 4 pumps or something, and then it exhausts through the outflow valve and through whatever seals are not sealing quite right. Usually the door doesn't seal quite right in the plane. This is a bit of leakage around the door, and the pumps, you see the outflow rate, and then that sets the pressure in the cabin.
Now, have you ever looked at planes and gone, fixes? There's some
Does it make a better design for a plane?
You do?
Yeah.
A better design?
I mean, probably, I think it is.
Who have you talked to about this?
I've talked to friends.
Friends?
Girlfriends.
Tell me. What do you got? What's going on?
Well, I mean, the exciting thing to do would be some sort of electric vertical takeoff and landing, supersonic jet or something.
Vertical takeoff and landing, meaning no need for a runway. Just shoot up straight in the air and how would you do that? But they do that on some military aircrafts, correct?
Yes. The trick is that you have to transition to level flight, and then the thing that you would use for vertical takeoff and landing is not suitable for high-speed flight.
So you have two different systems.
I've thought about this quite a lot. The interesting thing about an electric plane is that you want to go as high as possible, but you need a certain energy density in the battery pack, because you have to overcome gravitational potential energy. Once you've overcome gravitational potential energy and you're at a high altitude, the energy you use in cruise is very low, and then you can recapture a large part of your gravitational potential energy on the way down. So you really don't need any kind of reserve fuel, if you will, because you have the energy of height, gravitational potential energy. This is a lot of energy. So once you can get high, the way to think about a plane is it's a force balance. So the force balance. So a plane that is not accelerating is a neutral force balance. You have the force of gravity, you have the lift force of the wings, then you've got the force of the thrusting device, the propeller or turbine or whatever it is, and you've got the resistance force of the air. Now the higher you go, the lower the air resistance is. Air density drops exponentially, but drag increases with the square. An exponential beats a square. The higher you go, the faster you will go for the same amount of energy. And at a certain altitude, you can go supersonic with less energy per mile, quite a lot less energy per mile than an aircraft at 35,000 feet, because it's just a force balance.
I'm just doing this conversation.
It makes sense, though.
No, I'm sure it does. Now, when you think about this new idea of designing, I mean, when you have this idea about improving planes, are you going to bring this to somebody? Or you just chuck
Well,
this
I have a lot
around?
on my plate.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you do what you do now, but if you keep coming up with these, but it's got to be hard to pawn these off on someone else either. Hey, go do good job with this vertical takeoff and landing system that I want to implement to regular planes.
The electric airplane isn't necessary right now. Electric cars are important.
We need
Solar
some sort
energy
of-
is important. Stationary storage of energy is important. These things are much more important than creating electric supersonic VTOL. Also, planes naturally, you really want that gravitational energy density for an aircraft, and this is improving over time. So, it's important that we accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. That's why electric cars matters, whether electric cars happen sooner or later. We're really playing the crazy game here with the atmosphere to the oceans. We're taking vast amounts of carbon from deep underground and putting this in the atmosphere. This is crazy. We should not do this. It's very dangerous. So we should accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. I mean, the bizarre thing is that obviously we're going to run out of oil in the long term. There's only so much oil we can mine and burn, it's tautological. We must have a sustainable energy transport and energy infrastructure in the long term. So we know that's the end point. We know that. So why run this crazy experiment where we take trillions of tons of carbon from underground and put it in the atmosphere and oceans? This is an insane experiment. It's the dumbest experiment in human history. Why are we doing this? It's crazy.
Do you think this is a product of momentum? That we started off doing this when it was just a few engines, a few 100 million gallons of fuel over the whole world, not that big of a deal, and then slowly but surely over a century it got out of control. And now it's not just our fuel, but it's also fossil fuels are involved in so many different electronics, so many different items that people buy. There's just this constant desire for fossil fuels, constant need for oil, without consideration of the sustainability.
The thing is, like oil, coal, gas, it's the easy money.
Right.
It's easy money. So,
have you heard about clean coal? The president's been tweeting about it. It's got to be real. Clean coal, all caps. Did you see? He used all caps. Clean coal.
Well, it's very difficult to put that CO2 back in the ground. It doesn't like being in solid form. It takes a lot of energy.
Something like that? Like some sort of a filter? Giant building-sized filter sucks carbon out of the atmosphere? Is that possible?
No, it doesn't. Not possible.
No,
definitely
so
not.
we're fucked.
No, we're not fucked. I mean, this is quite a complex question.
Right.
We're really just, the more carbon we take out of the ground and add to the atmosphere, and a lot of it gets permeated into the oceans, the more dangerous it is. Like, I don't think right now, I think we're okay right now. We can probably even add some more, but the momentum towards sustainable energy is too slow. Like, there's a vast base of industry, vast transportation system. Like there's 2.5 billion cars and trucks in the world. So and the new car and truck production, if it was 100% electric, that's only about 100 million per year. So it would take, if you could snap your fingers and instantly turn all cars and trucks electric, it would still take 25 years to change the transport base to electric. Makes sense, because how long does a car truck last before it goes into the junkyard and gets crushed? About 20 to 25 years.
Is there a way to accelerate that process, like some sort of subsidies or some encouragement from the government financially?
Well, the thing that is going on right now is that there's an inherent subsidy in any oil-burning device. Any power plant or car is fundamentally consuming the carbon capacity of the oceans and atmosphere, or just say atmosphere for short. So like you can say, like, okay, there's a certain probability of something bad happening past a certain carbon concentration in the atmosphere, and so there's some uncertain number where if we put too much carbon in the atmosphere, things overheat, oceans warm up, ice caps melt, ocean real estate becomes a lot less valuable, it's underwater, but it's not clear what that number is, but it's definitely, scientists would all, it's really quite, the scientific consensus is overwhelming. Overwhelming. I mean, I don't know any serious scientists, actually literally zero, who don't think that that we have quite a serious climate risk that we're facing. And so there's fundamentally a subsidy occurring with every fossil fuel burning thing. Power plants, aircraft, car, frankly even rockets. I mean, rockets use up, they burn fuel. But there's just, with rockets, there's just no other way to get to orbit, fortunately. So it's the only way. But with cars, there's definitely a better way with electric cars. And to generate the energy, do so with photovoltaics, because we've got a giant thermonuclear reactor in the sky called the sun. It's great. It shows up every day. Very reliable. So if you can generate energy from solar panels stored with batteries, you can have energy 24 hours a day. And then you can send it to the poles or near to the north with high voltage lines. Also, the northern parts of the world tend to have a lot of hydropower as well. But anyway, all fossil fuel powered things have an inherent subsidy, which is their consumption of the carbon capacity of the atmosphere and oceans. So people tend to think like, why should electric vehicles have a subsidy? But they're not taking into account that all fossil fuel burning vehicles fundamentally are subsidized by the environmental cost to Earth. But nobody's paying for it. We are going to pay for it, obviously. In the future, we'll pay for it. It's just not paid for now.
Now, what is the bottleneck in regards to electric cars and trucks and things like that? Is it battery capacity?
Yeah, we've got to scale up production. Got to make the car compelling. Make it better than gasoline or diesel cars.
Make it more efficient in terms of like the distance it can travel.
Yeah, you got to be able to go far enough, recharge fast.
And your Roadster, you're anticipating 600 miles. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What is that?
600 miles.
Is that right now? Like, have you driven one 600 miles now?
No, we could totally make one right now that would do 600 miles. But the thing is, it's too expensive. So, like the car's got to.
How much more so?
Well, just have a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack, and you can go 600 miles.
Right. Versus what do you have now?
330 mile range. But that's plenty for most people.
Range. What is that in terms of kilowatts?
Well, that would be for Model S 100 kilowatt hour pack. We'll do about 330 miles, maybe 335. There's some people have hypermiled it to 500 miles.
Hypermiled it? What does that mean?
Just like go on
45 miles an hour or something?
Yeah, they're like 30 miles an hour. So it's like on level ground with, you pump the tires up really well and go on a smooth surface, and you can go for a long time. But you can definitely probably do 300 miles.
Is there
This is fine for most people. Usually 200 or 250 miles is fine. 300 miles is, you don't even think about it really.
Is there any possibility that you could use solar powered one day, especially in Los Angeles? I mean, as you said about that giant nuclear reactor, 1 million times bigger than Earth, just floating in the sky. Is it possible that one day you'll be able to just power all these cars just on solar power? I mean, we don't ever have cloudy days. If we do, there's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the surface area of a car is, without making the car really blocky, we're having some
like a G-Wagon.
Yeah, and just having a lot of surface area where maybe solar panels fold out or something.
Like your E-Class. That's what we needed.
The E-Type?
Yeah, the Jaguar E-Type with a giant long hood. That could be a giant solar panel.
Well, at the beginning of Tesla, I did want to have this unfolding solar panel thing. They'd press a button and it would just unfold these solar panels and recharge your car in the parking lot. Yeah, we could do that, but I think it's probably better to just put that on your roof.
Right.
And then it's going to just be facing the sun all the time. Because otherwise your car could be in the shade, it could be in the shade, it could be in a garage or something like that. Yeah.
Didn't a Fisker have that on the roof? The Fisker Karma new generation I believe it was only for the radio. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could recharge 2 miles a day or something.
Did you laugh when they started blowing up when they got hit with water? Do you remember what happened?
They what?
Yeah, when they had a dealership the Fisker Karmas were parked.
Was that that with a flood in Jersey?
Yes. When the hurricane came in, they got overwhelmed with water and they all started exploding. There's fucking great video of it. Did you watch the video?
I didn't watch the video, but I did see. I saw a picture of the Ashland aftermath.
Naked, lubed up. Watch that video, laugh my ass off. They all blow up. They got wet and they blew up. That's not good.
Yeah, we made our battery waterproof so that doesn't happen.
Smart
actually,
move.
Yeah, there was a guy in Kazakhstan that I think it was Kazakhstan that he just boated through a tunnel, underwater tunnel, like a flooded tunnel, and just turned the wheels to steer and pressed the accelerator, and it just floated through the tunnel, and he steered around the other cars. You're like,
that's amazing.
It's on the internet.
What happens if your car gets a little sideways, like if you're driving in snow? Like what if you're driving, if your autopilot is on and you're in like Denver and it snows out and your car gets a little sideways? Does it correct itself?
Oh yeah, it's got great traction control.
Like does it know how to like correct? Do you know how like when your ass end kicks out, you know how to counter steer?
Oh yeah, no, it's really good.
It knows how to do it?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So like if you're going sideways, it knows how to correct itself?
It generally won't go sideways.
It won't?
No.
Why not?
It will correct itself before it goes sideways.
Even in black eyes?
Yeah, there's videos where you can see the car, the traction control system is very good. It makes you feel like Superman. It's great. You feel like you can it will make you feel like this incredible driver.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Now how do you program
we do our testing on like an ice lake in Sweden.
Oh really?
Yeah, and like Norway and Canada and a few other places.
Porsche does a lot of that too.
New Zealand as well.
They do some of their driver training school on these frozen surfaces. So you're just the car's going sideways whether you like it or not. It's learning how to slide into corners and adjust.
But electric cars have really great traction control because the reaction time is so fast.
Right.
So with a gasoline car, you've got a lot of latency. It takes a while for the engine to react. Electric motors are incredibly precise. That's why, you can imagine, if you had like a printer or something, you wouldn't have a gasoline engine printer. That would be pretty weird. Or like a surgical device. It's going to be an electric motor on the surgical device or a printer. Gasoline engines can be just chugging away. It's going to have a reaction time. But to an electric motor, it's operating at the millisecond. So it can turn on and off traction within like inches of getting on the like let's say you drive a patch bike, it'll turn the traction off and then turn it on a couple inches right after this. Like a little patch bike. Because in the frame of the electric motor, you're moving incredibly slowly. You're like a snail. You're a snail. You're just moving so slowly. Because it can see at 1,000 frames a second. And so it's like say 1 Mississippi. It just thought about things 1,000 times.
So it's realized that your wheels are not getting traction. It understands there's some slippery surface that you're driving on.
Yes.
And it makes adjustments in real time.
Yes. In milliseconds.
That'd be so much safer than a regular car.
Yes. It is.
Just that alone, for loved ones, you'd want them to be driving your car.
Yes.
On board. Fuck motors. Dude, fuck regular motors.
The S, X, and 3 have the lowest probability of injury of any cars ever tested by the U.S. government. Yeah, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty crazy. Like people still sue us. Like they'll have like some accident at 60 miles an hour where they like twisted an ankle, and they sue. Like they'll be dead in another car. They still sue us.
But that's to be expected.
It is to be expected.
Do you take that into account with like the same sort of fatalistic, undertones? Just sort of just go, you gotta just let it go. This is what people do.
So yeah,
That's what it is.
I have a lot of respect for the justice system. Judges are very smart, and so far I've found judges to be very good at justice, because and juries are good too. Like they're actually quite good. People. You read about like occasional errors in the justice system. Let me tell you, most of the time they're very good. And like the guy mentioned that who fell asleep in the car and he rode over a cyclist, and and that was what encouraged me to get autopilot out as soon as possible. That guy sued us.
He sued you for falling asleep.
Yes, I'm not kidding. He blamed it on the new car smell.
What?
Yes.
He blamed him falling asleep on your new car smell. There's someone who's a lawyer.
This is a real thing that happened.
Someone who's a lawyer that thought that through in front of his laptop before he wrote that up.
Yes, he got a lawyer and he sued us, and the judge was like, this is crazy, stop bothering me. No.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God. Thank God there's a judge out there with a brain.
I tell you, judges are very good.
Some of them. What about that judge
I
that
have a
sent
lot
those
of
boys up the river in Pennsylvania who's selling those kids out? You know about that story?
Nope.
Yeah. The judge was selling young boys to prisons. He was literally under bribes
Was this an elected judge or
he was
like sometimes they have judges like actually a politician?
No, he's an elected judge. This is a very famous story.
Okay.
He's in jail right now, I think, for the rest of his life. And he put away. He would take like a young boy would do something like steal something from a store, and he would put him in detention for 5 years, something ridiculously egregious. And they investigated his history, and they found out that he was literally being paid off. Was it by private prisons? Is that what the deal was? There was some sort of but anyway, this judge is two judges?
Two judges, kids for cash kids. 2008, students. So I think they are.
And who is paying them? Someone, it was proven, to the point where they're in jail now, that someone was paying them to put more asses in the seats in these private prisons. $1 million payment.
I do think it's this private prisons thing is creating a bad incentive.
Right.
Yes. But I mean, that judge is in prison.
Thank God.
Yes. But for people who think perhaps the justice system consists entirely of judges like that, I want to assure you this is not the case. The vast majority of judges are very good.
I agree.
And they care about justice, and they could have made a lot more money if they wanted to get a trial lawyer. And instead, they cared about justice, and they made less money because they care about justice. And that's why they're judges.
I feel that same way about police officers. I feel like there's so many interactions with so many different people with police officers that the very few that stand out, that are horrific, we tend to look at that like this is evidence that police are all corrupt. And I think that's crazy.
No, most police are very honest.
Yes.
Military personnel that I know are very honorable, ethical people.
Yes.
And much more honorable and ethical than the average person. That's my impression.
That's my impression as well.
And that's not to suggest that we be complacent and assume everyone's honest and ethical. And obviously, if somebody is given a trusted place in society, such as being a police officer or a judge, and they are corrupt, then we must be extra vigilant against such situations and take action. But we should not think that this is somehow broadly descriptive of people in that profession.
I couldn't agree more. I think there's also an issue with one of the things that happens with police officers, prosecutors, and anyone that's trying to convict someone or arrest someone is that it becomes a game. And in games, people want to win.
Yes.
Sometimes people cheat.
Yes. Yes. I mean, if you're a prosecutor, you should not always want to win. There are times when you should I should not want to win this case, and then just pass on that case. Sometimes people want to win too much. That is true. I think also it becomes tough if you're like a district attorney. You tend to sort of see a lot of criminals, and then your view of the world can get negatively. Have a negative. You have a negative view of the world because you're just interacting with criminals, but actually most of society